infrastructure across the country. And for you, those are still some of your challenges, I know that. For schools to connect up, 14,000 schools, how do you bring that connectivity there if we get the schools to connect and start using online services? We can help you to do that. That's why you need partners like us. So the journey is still not over for us. We've developed a 15-year plan now to continue the expansion of terrestrial broadband fiber across the country with our terrestrial fiber and submarine cable networks. Continue the expansion of cloud services across the country as well. Bring partners like Oracle to come and partner with us, bring us up to that standard that you will require for our people, basically. And also give that accessibility, broadband access, meaning fiber to the homes, fiber to the schools, buildings, and also supported by good technology like the low Earth orbit satellites, now coming into play as well. We're actively talking to them as well to bring them on board, because we know with cloud services you need low latencies. And the transmission is very, very important to make this possible. And of course, build reliability to our services. That's very, very key as well. We have over 1 billion kina worth of assets with us already. Within this 10-year period, we have accumulated 10 billion kina worth of assets. Okay? And that is also one of the reasons we've been able to be certified by ISO 9001, 27001, and we're continuing to get compliance in other areas as well, including, payment gateway systems as well. And of course, we perform exceptionally well, as been noted by the PNG HR Institute as an SOE. And we thank KCH again for their guidance and continuous supervision for us to achieving that milestone. And I think one of our biggest achievements also that we've achieved over the last couple of months is being nominated or being enlisted by Department of Information and Communication, together with our partner here, Oracle, as being the government private network provider and government private cloud provider. I think we are one of the companies in PNG that got that recognition. So we are ready to partner with you government agencies now. So most of you always come to us and say we need DICT approval. The approval is already given, gazetted. You don't have to wait now. You don't need anybody's approval to come and see us to use our cloud services, especially if we are now trying to get Oracle on board. We've connected, as I speak now, going to 46 districts from 44, 45, 46 now districts with fiber. Still 23 with satellite. And I think by the end of this year, we should go up to, if not 50 districts. So that is where we are in terms of our connectivity. But we want to do more. We want to, at the same time, get institutions to be connected. So as we do those connections, we will make sure that we lay accessibility fiber to various institutions, especially schools, hospitals. Yeah. I know police, we are doing that already, the rollouts. We started off with Port Moresby, we'll move to Ley, and then as per their priority. So other institutions, you're thinking of that. Customs, I think, recently we've connected them already, but launched their the single window platform. You will need us to partner with us to be able to achieve that. I know they want to have 22 government agencies. So with the consolidated effort by those that are driving digital transformation within your organizations from the top down, we can be able to achieve this for our people, for the country. Yes, so that is basically the reason why DataCo has been chosen. And I think mainly also because, apart from our master plan that we've already incorporated, the Digital Government Act is already there. We're doing our plans in compliance with that. The Digital Government Plan set up by DICT, the Digital Government Cloud Policy, the Digital Transformation Policy, and of course the MTDP4. The targets are very clear for us. We all have a responsibility in the digital space to realize that. So we are going to work in accordance with those plans, policies, and legislation. And that is the reason why I think Oracle decided they've done their own due diligence and seen that we are working in conjunction with the plan of the government. So I think that now brings me to the end of my presentation. I'll let Steve and Carlos and Mohan take you through what they will offer in our partnership. But again, like I mentioned earlier on, I stress the word partnership. You're no longer seen here as a customer. You are a partner. If you don't commit to this, we will not make this journey a success. So we are looking at you to come and talk to us, query. Our team, again, I mentioned, will be there. And we can be able to give you some more clarification on how you can actively benefit from this partnership. DICT will be working with us along the journey. They will give us a roadmap on which sectors, which entity to target to help in this transformation. And hopefully you are ready to meet us with your own internal team. So again, you are the most valuable actors in this journey. And I hope you take this message back to your decision makers, and we can be able to, take on this challenge together. So I think with that, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Steve and Carlos and Mohan to do your presentations. Thank you, everyone, for coming in today.
Many thanks, Chief Paul Comboy. Indeed, it is a partnership. We welcome the partnership, and I do stress his point, saying we shouldn't be viewed as the customer, we should be viewed as a partner, and we welcome this. And of course, the opportunity also comes with our other key stakeholders gathered here in this room and those watching virtually online as well through our platforms, particularly on YouTube and on Facebook, on the official PNG DataCo Limited channel and Facebook page as such. At this juncture, let me acknowledge the presence of the Minister for Information Communication Technology and Member for South Bougainville, the Honourable Timothy Masiu. Also with him as well, let me acknowledge the NID Director General, Mr. Noel Mobia, as well. With that being said, as we move on with our presentations for this session. Our next speaker has 30 years of experience in the IT industry across various roles and functions, and for the Oracle business in Australia and New Zealand and in the Pacific. Prior to Oracle, for those of you who love the brand HP, basically Hewlett-Packard, he held leadership positions in the Hewlett-Packard enterprise as well. To give his presentation on basically introducing Oracle Cloud and the key benefits and commitment to PNG, let me please make welcome the Regional Managing Director, Australia, New Zealand and the Pacific from Oracle, Mr. Stephen Bovis.
So I definitely went state of origin. I come from Sydney, so unfortunately, for many of you, I am a Blues supporter. So what I'd like to do is very much welcome you. I'm very, very pleased to be here in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. This partnership represents what I believe a fantastic opportunity in terms of how we're working collectively with PNG DataCo, also the government within PNG, and also commercial and enterprise. What I would like to do is just share the journey that we've been on so far. It's very much to understand at a very, very detailed level of the transformation, digital perspective that the phone's not working for some reason. Thank you. Can you hear me okay out there? Yep. Yeah, it seems to be cutting in and out. In terms of bringing capability to PNG. So if we look at the plan, and we actually... I'm over here. So if we break that down into the 6 pillars, so those pillars, and Paul spoke to many of these in terms of cybersecurity and safety, digital skills. Give me that. Digital skills, driving and helping with innovation and also entrepreneurship, digital government, and also driving financial inclusion. So when we talk about the capability that we're bringing to PNG with the Oracle technology, it's very much focused around that center core, which is around data center networking and bringing cloud capability into the center core. However, the plan that we have to work with DataCo and to work with PNG is to really represent and provide capability across these 6 areas of the digital transformational plan. And the way that we're going to do that is focused in 3 areas. So number 1 is around the technology. And the technology is very much around our distributed cloud platform, which is both a combination of both public cloud, but also our Alloy product, which will give capability in terms of onshore data and cloud capability within PNG. And our technology, as you've already heard from Paul, is very, very secure in terms of the way that we've designed it and offers significant data resiliency and also recovery capabilities. And that's built into the actual technology. Outside of the technology, we're also bringing what I believe is probably the most important part of the partnership is how are we helping skill and develop the people of Papua New Guinea to have capability around technology and capability around helping drive this digital transformation. So we have an organisation within Oracle which is called Oracle University. And through Oracle University, which we'll be making available as part of this partnership, is the focus will be on building those skills. And this is online courses that offer courses around the technology itself. So it could be around public cloud, OCI capability, but it's also around helping build skills around jobs that will be in demand. As an example, data analyst or data specialist or AI specialist. So that's the other area that we're focused on. And then finally, the final area is around thought leadership and bringing our global scale to the people of Papua New Guinea. And this will come in terms of centre of excellence, bringing best practices and bringing thought leadership, and also bringing knowledge and bringing our global scale to help in terms of part of this transformation. So the journey can actually start now. So I spoke a little bit about education, is that we will be making the platform available from both a training perspective and also certification around the technology areas. I spoke to the Centre of Excellence, and then whilst we need to work towards bringing that onshore alloy technology, which you're going to hear a little bit more about shortly, is that you can start today using our public cloud capabilities, which are exactly the same as what will be available here onshore. So with that, I'd like to thank you so much for your time. I'd like to now welcome Carlos to the stage. He's going to take you through a little bit more detail in terms of what we're doing from both a technology and also a partnership point of view. So thank you, Carlos.
Thank you, Stephen.
You probably don't need that.
My name is Carlos Cienfuegos, and I lead the cloud business for Oracle Australia and the Pacific. I'm extremely excited by the potential of what this day brings for the people of Papua New Guinea. What we're doing, and as Paul mentioned, as the Department of ICT has laid out, we are here to empower the people of Papua New Guinea. We are here to help DataCo help the citizens of Papua New Guinea. Paul, your message today that we are here to serve PNG people is extremely important and very close to me. What we're delivering with the support and partnership with DataCo is a trustworthy shared cloud platform delivered in Papua New Guinea for Papua New Guinea, fronted by Papua New Guinea. We are the technology providers behind the scenes, but we will always be there supporting Papua New Guinea and DataCo. You will have the platform to develop, build, architect government-to-government solutions, government-to-business platforms, and more important, and the most important element here is government-to-citizen services. A secure data platform that leverages the best technology in the world, not a cut-down version. It delivers the most comprehensive security in the world, not a reduced set of capabilities. And it delivers a sovereign solution in country that can be leveraged by everyone in Papua New Guinea. The partnership here is not only for government, for enterprises, and the ICT clusters, those young people, the startups who are going to dream big and deliver solutions that you never thought about before. At Oracle, our strategy is to deliver a distributed cloud. We do not subscribe to or believe that cloud should be restricted to certain countries. We also do not believe that cloud should be delivered only to other large countries as well. We want to make the cloud available to all corners of the world, and for that we are engineering clouds to be developed and deployed in countries like such PNG. Our vision here is, imagine what if you could have the best cloud, but you choose where to deploy it. You choose where to put it, and then you start to dream of what services you could do. That is what we're looking to power. Our cloud is built from the ground up. We have learned from the other hyperscalers who came before us. We have learned and we have adapted ourselves to deliver the best platform for artificial intelligence, generative AI, infrastructure-heavy workloads. And later today, after Mohan, I'll give you some examples of some of our customers that are using these solutions. Enterprise workloads, the banks, governments, defense forces, large corporations using our technology around the world to deliver services at scale. And more importantly, as Paul mentioned, private sovereign clouds for your nation. The three tenets that underpin everything that we do is security, performance, and flexibility. should add a fourth one here, which is education. Because without education and without the nation growing through STEM services, through educational services, you're reliant on other folks. And our aim is to make you self-service and self-complementary. So I'd like to show you an example, a small example, just a very simple example here of how technology is being used to protect environment. This here is a Norwegian example. What I like is the practicality of how they've gone about it. This solution, this technology will be available today in Oracle Cloud and very soon in the DataCo Cloud.
The wide array of services, hunting, clean water, clean air. Smart Forest is a center for research-based innovation. The center basically is a collaboration between research and people, private companies working within the forest sector. Our mission is to improve the efficiency of this sector, but the forest ecosystem is under pressure.
There's on one end the foresters, they want to cut the forest. On the other end, the more biology-oriented people that don't want to cut the forest. We should leave it.
You have to ensure that the decisions you make today are not only good today, but also for the future. What we have in Smart Forest is we have all these sensors that collects data that can be on drones or on backpacks or on machines or on cars, on people. Oracle is the brain behind all this. So it receives all the data from the sensors, organizes it, runs artificial intelligence to get actual insight.
So the idea is to get this data from the forest into Oracle Cloud, and then from this being able to make better decisions to manage our forest more sustainably.
We're using autonomous database for storing all our data, and we're using Apex built-in and autonomous to basically build the interface and the glue between the different components in the system. We receive in a large amount of data, and then we run a data science job, which spins up its own machine with GPU that applies the AI. So we basically use the system on demand through data science. And that gives us a very nice scalability and a quite cost-efficient solution for doing this.
Together with Oracle, we've been working on this cloud solution, which aims at bridging the gap between users, researchers, and allowing users to get advanced analytics about their forest.
It helps us both increase the health of the forest, the production that you get from the forest, and protect the environment.
Put a challenge to everyone here today. I would love to do a video like this with you, showing how technology is helping you and your citizens, how technology is helping education. I know the Department of Education is using some of this technology already, getting ahead of the curve. This is where innovation and dreams come together. Without a platform like cloud, those dreams can never become reality. That's why we are so excited about the potential. But as we covered before, it is not just about dreaming and technology and solutions. If the solutions are not secure, then we are opening up different issues. At Oracle, we have over 50 years of security in our DNA. Our most critical systems around the world are protected, and here in PNG, by Oracle technology. We are going to shoulder the responsibility of security together. It is a shared responsibility. We will provide the technology to secure. You will provide the people to learn how to do it. And the technology will enforce it automatically and dynamically across the entire stack. What we have done and what we're looking to do is to partner even more closer with the government, with DICT leading the charge here. Here we can start to bring artificial intelligence into the business processes. This is how we provide automation. With automation, with governance, with controls, you reduce areas of risk and potential tampering. With a zero trust network behind the solution, with data at the core and the focus, in a simplified and consistent way of delivering services across the world, including PNG, your people and your staff will also have the skills to further their careers and their resumes as well. We are here to partner with DataCo. You'll hear more about me later on, but I'll leave it here actually, and I'd like to pass on to the MC to introduce the next speaker, but you'll hear from him later on. So thank you so much, and I look forward to partnering with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. He'll be speaking later on, Mr. Carlos Cienfuegos, Vice President of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, Australia, New Zealand, Pacific Islands, and also just acknowledging our first speaker from Oracle, Stephen Bovis, the Regional Managing Director, Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands. And of course, once again, many of what we see, this initiative that we see today, I'd just like to take the opportunity again to acknowledge the strategic work that our good Minister for Information Communication Technology and his department under Secretary Maitanaho have done in terms of laying some of the key legislative and policy groundwork that's enabled us to see initiatives like this come to fruition. Thus, of course, we welcome the opportunity to not only keep up with the global trends, but also really benefiting Papua New Guinea in a practical sense. And I think a few years ago, someone mentioned this during a discussion I had on radio, basically saying that data is the new gold, as he made mention of that. Now, to give us a few examples of how the Oracle platform can actually benefit, we've seen one with the video that played, but of course, to basically give examples of how the Oracle platform can benefit Papua New Guinea with other examples that have been possible overseas as well. I'd like to call up on stage the Vice President for the Center of Excellence of JPAC under Oracle. And he's been the Vice President for Cloud Engineering in JPAC and leads the Center of Excellence focusing on providing a world-class experience to customers moving to or building applications on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And he brings an extensive experience in product development, alliance, and pre-sales across the United States and Asia Pacific. And fresh off the plane, let me please make welcome Mr. Mohan Srinivasan.
Thank you. Well, fresh off the plane, I'm not sure, but let's see. I think my energy levels are good. But let me start. Oops. 3 weeks ago, when I was at home, Carlos gave me a call and said, Mohan, are you available for a meeting on Monday with some very distinguished guests from PNG? And at that point, I knew 3 things about PNG. One, it's a wonderful country with very, very warm people. Rugby is the big sport, and they play cricket too. The third thing got me going, right? As an Indian, cricket runs in our veins, and that meeting just changed my whole perspective of what PNG is. Because they talked about the vision. Yeah. In that meeting, we learned about PNG's vision of transforming into a digital nation. So we had Dr. Thomas, CEO Paul, and his team, David, and Noel, and Secretary Stephen Maitanaho. And that really changed what my perspective was for PNG. So with 3 weeks to go, or 2 weeks to go, I had a few more questions. What is this about? What are they talking about in digital transformation? So rather than Googling, I used a tool that we built in the COE, a conversational AI assistant. We got a bunch of documents about PNG, videos, and I said, let me start asking my conversational assistant about what PNG is doing around digitalization. And I wanted to talk about it. So we loaded a bunch of videos, documents. I said, let me ask 3 questions, 3 very, very important questions. 1, what is the Prime Minister's vision for 2050? And that was magnificent to see. It talked about how citizens would be uplifted, how inclusivity was important, and this was for everybody in PNG. And more importantly, what was PNG's role in the region? Secondly, I asked about digital infrastructure. What are the key themes? And I got a list of themes that helped me prepare for today. And finally, the most important question, how do I get here? All right? Because I really, really, really wanted to come. And it's another story that I almost didn't make it because I arrived this morning, but we'll save that for another day, right? So I think this is where my journey begins, because I don't think it is just about a single opportunity. I think it's something very, very profound that this nation is going to go through. And what I wanted to share was, how do we unleash the potential for this nation? Because just talking to the room this morning, I can see the passion, I can see the commitment. And what we wanted to share is a few things that we've been observing and working with other parts of the world, where governments across the world, and public sector was always considered boring, but they are one of the most exciting places to work for today. Why? Because every government wants to be at the forefront of uplifting their citizens through digital transformation, right? And earlier, it was either the government would do it themselves, or the citizens would do it, the private enterprises would do it themselves. But what we are now talking about is an approach called Digital Public Infrastructure, or DPI for short, where it's a confluence of policymakers, the government, and the private enterprises that combine to make this nation digital, right? And here's the definition of DPIs. The notion of DPIs is not new. For example, GPS. GPS was something that was developed by the US military, but then they decided to open it up. And guess what? What would we do without GPS today? We use it on our phones all the time. And that's a great example of what a DPI is. Something that was built initially for whatever purpose, but then was released to the public for use across with no limitations. And it's considered a public good. So DPIs is just a set of systems that are independent but yet interoperable, open, either in terms of APIs or open source, that governments across the world can adopt and learn, right? So this is very different from what governments used to do in the past. In the past, all of the funding used to go towards physical infrastructure, roadways, highways, dams, and the likes. But now, that has completely changed. How do you take citizens forward in the digital era? You build digital infrastructure, which means you give things like digital identities to every citizen. You give digital banking accounts to everyone so that inclusivity is for all, not just for a few select people. And more importantly, this is aligned to what every nation wants to do, is working on all the sustainable development goals for 2030. That's a very, very important thing, because there becomes and brings a sense of purpose to what we're doing. Right? The good thing about this is PNG should chart a course on its own, absolutely, because you are unique and the needs of your citizens are unique. However, there's enough to learn from other countries or nations who've been using this approach. So for example, if you look at digital identities, they've been used the world over for phenomenal effect. Just empowering somebody with a digital identity can do wonders. all right? So you see countries across the world, whether it's in Indonesia or India or Brazil, every citizen has a digital identity. Same, once you have an identity, you can do digital payments. And there's nothing like payments that opens up that ecosystem, because everyone with a mobile phone can transact. The remotest village or the villager who does not really know how to read and write can even do a voice-enabled transaction in many countries. And that's empowerment for you. And health. Health, again, is very, very important to every country, because that's what brings the universal health care is a big challenge, and that needs to be solved. And today, with things like remote telemedicine, whether it's the provider or the patient or the doctor, they're all connected. And again, enough examples of how other countries have achieved it. Right? The good thing about DPIs is that it has real impact. And the even better thing is things are not incremental. So if you look at countries that have not been using DPIs, they go through incremental change. But countries that use DPIs can literally leapfrog. And what normally would take a country 15, 20 years to achieve can be done in 5 years, 7 years. And that's what we're talking about, because the ability of you to share, to use those systems, and then customize it to your own needs, that's the power of what DPIs bring, or the platform brings. And there's real benefits. So let's talk about the India story, because India is one of the nations that started this journey very early. In 2009, where it introduced a digital identity called Aadhaar. Long journey from 2009, but tremendous lessons, because it's a population of 1.4 billion. And doing things at scale takes time, takes consensus, and like CEO Paul said, there has to be partnerships, right? So typically, most of these countries now have this approach where there are 3 very, very important layers. The first layer is what we call the identity layer, and we are talking about digital identities, which means if I have to verify online about who I am, I just call an API and it comes back with an answer saying, yes, this is Mohan, he is a citizen of India, verified. That's it. And that's so important because that whole verification can be done and used by many systems. Everybody does not need to build a verification system anymore. Right? So that becomes very, very foundational. It's called a foundational identity. The second one is payments. Once you have verifiable identities, and then you have bank accounts created for everyone, you can facilitate transfers. Imagine in the time of COVID where nobody is moving anywhere. And there's a huge population of migrant laborers who are living on daily wages. How do you transfer money to them? Because bank accounts were set up. And this is a country where probably 30% of the population or less had bank accounts 10, 15 years ago. Now, literally 90% or 95% have bank accounts. And that enables the governments to send relief immediately. So payments becomes very, very important. And thirdly, and most importantly, it's the data. How do these systems interoperate? How do they share data? How is confidentiality maintained? And how is this individual citizen have protection over their own data so that it's not misused? And this is where the data layer comes into play. So typically you'll see, and you'll see this as a pattern in all the other slides in every system, there's going to be pretty much these 3 layers and more, right? So beyond what was the first 3, what we call building blocks, there's now a whole set of DPIs that India has come up. This is what brings non-linear sectoral reforms in agriculture, in logistics, in health, in e-commerce, you name it. And these are, again, interoperable, because if I just need to go out and do something with another system, all I need to do is call a set of APIs, and I get back a response, and I go on and do my own thing in my system. And that's the most important part. They have to be interoperable. And they are open because there's a set of APIs, and like I said, in many cases, they are open source, which means any country can take what is there, customize it, and bring it and use it for their benefit. Right? And these are real impacts. If you look at it, financial inclusion, and if I go back to what I asked the conversational AI agent, what are the key themes in PNG's digital transformation? Financial inclusion, right? Cost savings, ecological impact, these are all very, very important in the future. So these are all real benefits that are tangible, that you can measure the progress of a nation with. The other very important thing, it brings transparency to the government, because everything is online. I can go and check what is the amount of transfers that were done through the payment system. Obviously not the individuals, but collectively. I can check the amount of doctors that were registered in the health system that can provide teleconsultation services. So everything is online. So it becomes a wheel of collaborative agencies working together to provide transparency to the government. And that's very, very important, because once citizens trust the government, magic can happen. Yeah? And this is what I talked about. There is enormous potential for every sector. And this is a McKinsey report that came in 2019, just quantifying the opportunities. Because every single change leads to a step change, an exponential change, not just an incremental change. So that's why we're talking about adoption of these DPIs, or digital public goods or infrastructure, creates a ripple effect in an exponential way, which is why if you didn't have them, you would probably take 3, 5, 10 times the amount to go out and build this on your own. But you can leverage this. Finance, for example, is completely transformed, because look at this example here. So if you look at this example, in 2018, there was a very low rate, 5 transactions per 100 people were done on mobiles. And look at that in 2021, 1,300 transactions per 100 people were done using mobile phones. And this is 2021. I can tell you in 2024, this number would be at least 3, 4x. Because from everybody, right from the vegetable seller to the wealthiest banker, uses their mobile phone to transact. And that's what's changed the face of the economy. The ability to move money around, the ability to generate wealth, irrespective of your social status or class. And this is how new innovations are born. India's largest stockbroking firm, they brought down processing from literally months to days, because to verify people, they had to physically go out and send others to verify whether they were claiming to be who they are before they could transact. Now, with things like Aadhaar and Know Your Customer, you can do that instantly using APIs on your platform. And that's how innovation blooms. Right? Education, like Carlos said, I passionately believe that it's one of the most fundamental things for every nation. So how do you transform it? And this is, proud to say, this is the largest government K1 to K12 education system that's running in India, that runs across the entire country, covering all the states in 36 different languages, and it's a combination of a platform that empowers policymakers, teachers, students, and parents, because education is an ecosystem. It's just not one person deciding what's good. And taking beyond education, it's also about skills. Education is one thing, but skills are another. As long as people have skills, they will have the confidence to go out and do things. So this platform, and we'll show you a little bit later, has completely changed how education is done, right? And this is running on OCI today at population scale. Look at the amount, the statistics on this system. 600 million textbooks with QR codes on them, so that you can just point your mobile phone and go into a textbook or a chapter. Imagine the power of that in your students' hands, right? And many, many other things. The good thing about it, Diksha, which is the name of the platform, is now available to any country at no cost, at no license implications for you to implement. And that's something that we at Oracle are more than happy to work with you and see how we can leverage, software like this or platforms like this to help PNG. And let's look at
a country's aspirations to modern education can be easily summarized into key values and visionary messages for schools to follow. But as they flow and adapt down the chain into 4 regions, 22 provinces, and 187 schools, your education vision breaks down into an overwhelming amount of data points, tracking a variety of region-based KPIs. This data forms a core component of decision-making, but your reports must also emit empathy and understanding of the persona in stakeholder communications. Oracle Cloud's digital analytics tools, empowered by artificial intelligence, will help education departments keep track of data in a visually intuitive way. Drilling down from a top-level perspective of state and district, all the way down to grassroots level, at classroom level and children categories. Making data-driven decisions on human development indicators is a complex, socially sensitive, and organizationally difficult area. Being aware of this, we have made select OCI analytics interpretable on the spot in natural language, with generative AI features, turning cold numbers into actionable insights for decision makers and stakeholders. Schools can easily understand in what areas they need to focus, for better aligning with the national KPI, while also upholding their cultural identity, with setting up and tracking region-based performance indicators. By being in control of such a fine-grained database, it's easy to identify root causes of issues, or to understand the factors behind education successes, to replicate them across the board in the future. Agents and AI assistants based on Oracle Gen AI services can further enhance administrators and the ability of teachers to provide empathetic and domain knowledge-based action or responses to insights shown by data. This is how Oracle Cloud features will empower educators to spend significantly less time on technology plumbing and focus more on program designs, monitoring and amplifying outcomes with personalized and customized experiences. Your young generation is looking up to a prosperous future, and the skies are clear, under a single guiding cloud.
Isn't that empowering? Right? The same can be done with healthcare. Again, a very, very important state subject. And going back to my central theme, you again have things that have been done before. You have platforms that are layered based on foundational aspects such as identities. And then you have data exchange, where obviously confidential information is protected, but things that can be shared with anybody having access and having the permissions to use that information. And on top of that, you can build very, very innovative solutions on health. Like I said, telemedicine is a really good one. And that's what India has done with a platform called eSanjeevani, where, again, it's a large country, it's rural, there's obviously big cities as well. How do we serve the population? And telemedicine or e-medicine, amplifies that there. So let's look at an example of how this is done.
First, we'll do what a doctor does once a scan of the diabetic retinopathy or an eye scan comes in place. So first, the doctor will choose the image to upload. Once they have chosen it, we'll click on upload and the image will be uploaded. Once that's done, you'll be able to process the image. To do so, do the exact same thing as what we did earlier. Upload the image, click on post, and refresh to get whether this eye scan has diabetic retinopathy or not. And you can see over here the results. And this patient has diabetic retinopathy in the moderate stage and will require surgery. Once the patient knows that he or she requires surgery, he can filter the hospital to go to based on province and the specialization type. And they can now click on the hospital that they would like to make an appointment with and confirm the appointment accordingly. Now onto the government side. So now the government will be able to feed in data into Oracle Analytics Cloud and visualize this data in forms of charts, line graphs, and tables. So as you can see, based off like the information that we had put in, this shows like our data for the health analysis data from Papua New Guinea. So let's look at one particular graph. So in this graph, you can see that the government spending in the past was about $45, but when you hover over to the expected one, it's about $25. So this allows the government to think about policies with regards to government spending in healthcare.
And you can see the efficiencies of the system, where people don't have to travel all lengths. You don't need to have doctors in every town and city. For the most basic of needs, it can be done in an e-consultation manner. And if need be, the patient can then go to the closest healthcare facility to then get better attention, or come to the national capital where obviously there's a lot more good facilities. Same thing is happening with agriculture. And again, the same story. You have foundational layers, you have policies, you have data sharing, APIs, and then you have innovation on top of it, right? So you get the drift. Everything is a platform, a digital platform, with a foundational layer, a data sharing layer, and innovation that the whole ecosystem can build on top of it. So here's an example of how things are happening.
Over the ages, human progress moved hand in hand with the evolution of agricultural tools. Each improvement in the craft of utensils translated into a higher quality of life for the farmers, as well as increasing crop yields for a humanity hungry for both food and knowledge. Today, the cloud and AI technologies are empowering farmers, pioneering a path for modern agriculture across the world. Under the government's initiative, such a simple step forward is showing multiple benefits compared to present methods. Training the rural societies about the usage, operation, and maintenance of drones in agriculture brought modern agriculture to the furthest regions and bridged the gap of inclusivity. Spraying fertilizers from the air avoids the farmer's exposure to chemicals that would have usually been sprayed by hand pumps. Far from a simple tech trend, high-tech drone solutions for agriculture directly translate into benefits for the farmers and the community, as proven in India's IFFCO's Namo drone DT program. Thanks to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Solutions, in the future, videos can be analyzed for crop health parameters, such as bugs or diseases, enabling farmers to choose the best course of action for crop development. It is said that being a farmer means shaking hands with nature. Let us also shake hands in partnership to support Papua New Guinea's ambition for innovative, sustainable, and progressive rural entrepreneurship.
And this is a system that's running live on OCI. So IFFCO, which is a state-owned enterprise, started off with 1,000 drones. They're going to expand to 2,500 drones. And what I love about the story is not about the technology at all. If you notice in the video, there was this program called Drone Didi. Didi means sister in Hindi. And it has special significance because the people operating the drones are women in the villages. And traditionally, in the villages, they were only assigned to household tasks, cleaning house, taking care of the children. Can you imagine putting a drone in their hands, asking them to fly the drone? It is just so uplifting. And that's the part I like about it, because it brings inclusion and the ability for talent, regardless of gender, to shine through. Logistics, again, same theme, unified platform, interoperable. Logistics is very, very important because in countries like PNG or India, where there's different kinds of terrains, all kinds of things, you need to make sure that logistics is right. And again, you have an ecosystem around it. So the same thing, you have multiple agencies coordinating, you have visibility to data, you have access, and you can build very, very innovative fleet management solutions on top of this. So if you look at these, what do these platforms create? There's huge social impact, but they also create thriving ecosystems for private enterprises. And if you look at this, there's a whole lot of venture capital money coming into building these innovative systems. And that's where the government is the enabler, everybody benefits. Right from the individual citizen to entrepreneurs who want to come and change a nation. They have the passion, they have the skills, and they have the stamina to see it through. And that's what defines the new digital age, empowering all of these across the sectors. Everybody in the ecosystem stands to benefit. Like I said, whether it's the end user or if you're a company like a systems integrator that wants to go out and implement these systems. Again, in the earlier approach, the government would say, I do it all. Or a public sector or a private entity would say, I can do it all, I don't need the government. Today, hand in glove as partners, everybody has an opportunity. Again, the governments are enablers of creating these opportunities and causing that non-linear change. So where do we begin? It's a very, very important question. All right? What we want to offer and what we've been saying throughout is technology for technology's sake is not good enough. Same thing, policy for policy's sake is not good enough too. And the power of both of them combining is what you're going to see as a big, big benefit for all of you. So we talked about a center of excellence, right? And this is where it's not a technology center of excellence, it's not a DPI center of excellence, it's a combined center of excellence where domain experts from each of these sectors come and contribute their thoughts, their ideas, their implementation experiences. And then we, as technology vendors, DataCo and Oracle, are again the enablers of saying, how are you going to run it on a cloud with professionals from DataCo managing that cloud? And that's where the combined benefits are there. And again, do you need to start everything from scratch? No. Because if you do, you're missing the fundamental tenets of what digital public infrastructure is all about. Nations share. Nations are sharing. Take what you have or take what you need. If you have things that you're already implementing, build on top of it. See how you can leverage and use those systems. So that's why they're called building blocks. You're not going to race down everything just because you're going to create something new. You can always take some things there, see how you can improve it, or like I said, you can take all of this open software that's there, and there are donors from every country providing that software for free that can run on sovereign clouds, on highly, highly secure platforms like OCI. Yeah? And again, going back to the building blocks, and we'll take education as an example. You can use what is most important for PNG. Diksha as a platform, like we said, is open source. It's got many, many, many different components. Now, you may start off with something small, and you may want to expand into a lot more sophisticated use cases later. And that's absolutely fine, because they can all be layered, they can all be deployed independently, but when they're all deployed collectively, they interoperate as well. So you can begin your journey by starting small. You don't need to wait for the entire thing to happen. And what we can do as Oracle, and that's what we do in the Center of Excellence, is we can provide automation that can assemble all these building blocks and deploy them onto OCI so that if there are skills that are lacking, they don't need to be there immediately. We reduce the onboarding time. We make sure that people ease into the technology, because there are many, many people who fear change. What we want to do is make them feel very, very comfortable with the technology. So we provide those tools and accelerators so that they can start deploying, those powerful systems without having to learn everything before they get to deploy. And that's what partnerships are all about. Again, DataCo, Oracle, we are again the enablers here. And here's the surprise. And what I said in the previous slide was not all talk. Why? Because it took us about a week, last week, to take Diksha and Sunbird, which is the software building block, and deploy it on OCI. Obviously, it's not a full-blown implementation because we need to understand your needs in education. But here's a glimpse, and this is running on OCI today. And you can go, like I said, it's a system that has everybody in there, policymakers, teachers, students, and parents. And the whole objective is to make learning fun. It can't be pedantic. It can't be the way things were taught before. The kids of this generation are digital native. They use their mobiles, they use whatever. They don't even want to read and write. My son doesn't want to write. I don't want to write, right? But the idea is bring them all together on a platform where, in this case, we've taken whatever public material was available on your portals, we've loaded them onto this platform, and voila, you've got an education portal got started. And that's just in a week. Imagine if we all sit together what PNG needs for education. We can again go out and create something that is so profoundly life-changing for the kids of the future. Right? So here again, you can go. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of menu choices. This is not a complete example of the system, but this is something that, again, the power of what digitization can do. Because there's a really, really cool feature in this, where each of these, these digitized textbooks, A, you can use machine learning to go out and talk to them. B, you can also embed smart things like QR codes, so that all somebody needs to do is point to a QR code, and there either the chapter or that whole book can be downloaded, and then you can have much more immersive experiences using AI, visual aids, so on and so forth. But it's just not for the students alone. Even teachers can use this platform to learn. How do I add content? Because if you're going to have teachers who are distributed across your provinces and regions, you need to enable them too on the platform. So it becomes a platform for everybody that makes it so collaborative, and at the same time brings forward the education agenda for the whole country. All right? And again, this is an example of an e-textbook, and you're going to see pretty much the same thing, right? Everything is digitized, which means once you have that foundational layer of digitization, you are set up for the future. Right? Let me see. And this is what I was talking about. Once you have things digitized, you can do really smart things, like embedding AI into the whole process. Again, not AI for AI's sake, but again, providing a very, very guided learning for students in a very safe environment. Right? So in this case, this is, again, a live AI assistant running, which is again available as open source that you can use. But the most important thing here is, this is not a wild AI that can answer any questions. The framework, the policy is set by the educators and the education department. Because with kids, we've got to be very, very careful on exposing them. So the framework of what they can ask the AI is given by the educators. And then the AI implementation happens by technologies and vendors like us. And that's the power of being able to query these textbooks in a fun manner and get answers that span a whole range. If you look at some of these textbooks here, like this mathematics one, 193 pages. How is somebody going to scroll? All right? Yeah, done. So, just an example. Now, here's the challenge. Like I said, what I spoke about was not just PowerPoint. I invite all of you to scan this QR code. If you can pull out your mobile phones and if you can scan this QR code, go to the browser. If it takes a time, please reload it again. It's just an experimental system, like I said, set up in a week. But then this should take you to your education portal. All right, I'm just going to give you a minute because we'll then run over time. Did you get it? Did you get this page? All right, let's play with it even more. So this is my call to action. You are all nation builders. And that's what fascinated me, and this is why I really, really wanted to get here, because it gives us such a profound chance to impact what this nation is going to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And it is also your defining moment, because what you do is going to impact generations to come. Let's all build the future of PNG. And again, DataCo and Oracle are partners here in making that happen. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mohan. Thank you. So, team, we are, and I'm going to just maybe take over a little bit here because we're just running a little bit short of time. Where's the clicker? Here. And what we're going to do is going to move very quickly into a quick explanation of how all this will work. So I'm going to move very quickly here, so please keep up with me. But I'm going to take you on a ride. Again, I lead the Oracle Cloud business for Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific. What we're hearing and what Mohan talked about is customers at the moment, organizations, are not going to cloud because they haven't had a solution that addresses their needs. What we're looking to do is address your needs here locally today. At Oracle, our cloud is about, as you saw today, is about not only infrastructure, but bringing applications together. And the way we do that is by bringing all the three verticals together: infrastructure, enterprise applications, and industry applications into the same boat. Traditionally, clouds were all separate. There were application clouds and there were infrastructure clouds. At Oracle, we believe that a unified cloud is going to give you the best platform to make this happen. You can't just have infrastructure without applications. You can't have data without the infrastructure. So bringing this together in the Oracle Cloud is what makes us unique. What also makes us unique is that you have the ability to deploy what you need, and we've just talked about that today. Deployment in PNG, deployment in your business. Extensible platforms to grow and build applications the way we saw today. We've shown you open source solutions today. The same can be done with VMware, with SAP, and other workloads as well that you may have running on premises. And more importantly, like Paul mentioned today, governance, compliance, and security is all built in and embedded into the whole mix. Many organizations are using this technology today, so you're not alone. The largest, and for those who follow football, I follow football, English Premier League storing all the data on Oracle Cloud. NVIDIA, the largest AI machine learning models developed on Oracle Cloud. NRI, deployment of local cloud solutions in Japan to host the Japan Stock Exchange on Oracle Cloud. Bangladesh, and I'll show you a video very soon about Bangladesh. It's not just about Oracle database. Open source technology is what's going to change you and help you accelerate much, much quicker. Of course, Oracle technologies, database and applications and middleware bring the foundation of proven and road-tested solutions, but we can't underestimate the power and economics that open source brings to the opportunity here. All our cloud offerings here actually match very, very well to the Gov PNG stack. You can see from an infrastructure perspective where DataCo, from a hosting point of view, will be playing. The communication platforms as well. But as you start to build your digital blocks, building blocks, this is where developer services, containers, functions, APIs, as you build your government to citizens portals, this is where you continue to use the AI, machine learning, and analytics platforms as well. And finally, when you deploy them, our portals and web services there. All of this is built into the Oracle Cloud. Why? Because they're exactly the same around the world. Our strategy is to deliver a multi-cloud strategy across the world. We have over 69 regions globally, 48 of them public. The others are government private clouds, such as the ones you will have here. Now, the benefit of the government private cloud is that it's a multi-tenant cloud that can go across government and private sector as well. This is what and customers around the world are using is Vodafone in Europe, building their private clouds on, the Oman government, having their own government cloud. But I want to hear from Minister of the ICT from Bangladesh and why they are doing.
We are the country of 170 million people, and we have 50 ministries and more than 300 government organizations and so many government companies. And they have a requirement of storing their data, processing their data, host their websites and different solutions and platforms. And that is why Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina decided to set up a government data center. There is a trust problem, an issue among the citizens when we are requesting our citizens to access our government services. They are asking for their security and their reliability. That was the challenge in our data center. And after having the Oracle Cloud in our data center, now government services are much more simplified. We chose dedicated region cloud at customer because there was an issue to secure our data and protect our citizens' information. And after having this dedicated region cloud at customer, we have been able to protect our sensitive data of the government and also secure our citizens' privacy. And we have been able to localize our data in our country's territory. We are transforming all of our government initiatives and solutions powered by AI tools under the Smart Government Initiative. We want to make all of our services interoperable and interconnected. Every citizen should have access to all of our government services, and that is why we decided to have Oracle Cloud to make all of our services agile, efficient, and secure.
Great to be number one in this era. Having pioneers do it for you first helps you as well. You can learn from other countries, as Mohan mentioned. You can learn from other organizations, and you can learn from partners like DataCo and Oracle to help you transform. What we talked about here, and I'm going to come to it at the end, is the alloy solution. The uniqueness about Oracle to deliver the complete infrastructure platform, the same that we have in Australia, the same that we have in the UK, the same we have in Singapore, the same we have in US, will be available here in PNG without restrictions. You'll be sovereign to PNG, and you'll be able to do this. Fujitsu is doing this in Japan for sovereign cloud services in Japan. New Zealand is going live this year with 2 sovereign cloud regions as well, exactly the same setup that DataCo is going to be doing here. Japan for the stock exchange, as I mentioned. Saudi Arabia as well. And very soon, PNG. So with that, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your participation. And we will be here to have good discussions with you. And I'm sure the DataCo team will help us along. So please, why don't you help us close the day today, and we can move forward. I know that I changed your agenda. Apologies.
Thanks, Carlos. Once again, Vice President of the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, Australia, New Zealand, and Pacific Islands, Carlos Cienfuegos. To give our closing remarks, I'd like to call up once again on to the podium our Chief Executive Officer for PNG DataCo Limited, Chief Paul Comboy.
All right. Testing. Yeah, thank you, everyone. I think before I do my closing remarks, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Minister for Information and Communication, Honorable Timothy Masu. Thank you for joining us in this session. And I'm really, really proud of your departments and ministerial work in terms of driving digital transformation in the government sector and all of Papua New Guinea. You've done a great job so far, and we are here to partner you to extend that mission. So thank you for being with us today. Just 3 points to highlight in our closing remarks. Firstly, in relation to the partnership with Oracle, they've already demonstrated what they can be able to offer to us. What we have been looking for is here now, and it is really up to us to make that commitment. I think one thing I learned and that really stuck on me is the comments made by Safra Katz, their CEO. She's a female. She mentioned something about relationship. She said, I think now with Oracle, they're more focused on relationship. And in that relationship, what they are really looking for with their partners is your time, our time. If we can commit the time to tell them about our challenges and problems, then they can be able to give us those technological options to work with us to customize in our needs and requirements. So I think that's very important. I'd like to also pass this message to you. The second thing is in relation to data. Like I mentioned already, data is now the new oil, the new gold, and it comes with a lot of responsibility. It fuels innovation, decision-making, and also technologies. It drives technologies. So we've got a solution on the table now to be able to give us that privacy in our data, that sovereignty, and that security right on our table, and for us to commit ourselves. And finally, I'll stress again on the point of partnership. We owe it to our people. That's the most highest responsibility that we have now. We have to give it back to our people. The opportunity is here. We make that change, we drive that change, we are the actors of change, and that is progress, that is development. Let us try and do things differently. Take up the challenge that you have individually in your organizations and your company. Help to turn your business support system around, your ERP systems, your operating support systems, and your platforms and applications specific to the industries like they have demonstrated. It's there. It's for us to make the choice and customize to our needs. I think with that, I'd like to thank you all for attending today's session, and I look forward to meeting you again during the next couple of days and even throughout our journey. Please feel free to approach us and the team, I mentioned already, on all your queries. Thank you again, MC.
Introducing the Big Cloud. PNG DataCo is proud to deliver the first hyperscale data center infrastructure and cloud solutions in Papua New Guinea. The big cloud is coming. PNG DataCo. Yes, you'll be covered.
That's right, the big cloud is coming and you will be covered. Speaking of which, thank you everyone for your patience and your attentiveness in our program this morning. This is the first. The second program at 1 o'clock will feature, of course, our telcos, our banks, financial institutions, retailers, as well as our Department of Finance. With that being said, this is where we end our session this morning. For those who have an invite to attend the One Pipeline discussion, please do so to the designated room where the discussion will be happening with our key stakeholders and our ministers. With that being said, again, thank you very much for your time. I bid you a safe and top day. And again, if you are booked for the second session, please do drop by around 1 o'clock. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all.